Hey, look at that. It is time for Soulbirth here on Edge Radio Australia. I got very excited. I got preempted. I jumped right in. It is time, of course, to talk about all things soul with the lovely Faye. Suzanne.
Hi, Aaron. How are you today?
Pretty good. I can't complain. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, well, I can complain. Who's listening? No one's listening. No, in fact, let me start. I'll get a pen and paper. I'll start a list of my complaints today.
I'll listen.
Why not? Oh, the old back, the front.
She could be here for a century.
I tell you what, if you're going to psychologically analyse me, you get comfy, not me. It's going to take a while. Great to have you here as always.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we're going to talk about something spiritual, which is always a cool one, but spiritual bit of, premature babies and premature, the whole bringing a new life into the world a little bit early.
Right.
You want to sort of give me an idea of what we're on
because
about?
Last week we had a conversation around bonding with your baby in NICU, or neonatal intensive care unit, and so I thought it'd be really good to go a bit more into depth around other aspects of that too, because there's so many layers, if you like.
Layers, okay. We're like an onion. I like that. Okay.
Babies that come early, and as we talked about last week too, it's not always just premature babies that are born, that are in the neonatal unit. Okay. It's also, babies that have been born through traumatic birth.
Sure.
There might be issues, whether they're physical, abnormalities, or mental, emotional, spiritual. And so what I've noticed after working in the NICUs for many, many, many years, and having a chance to sit with babies and tune into them, is that they have all their different reasons as well why they come early.
Right. And you just hanging back, having a conversation with the baby. Is that how it works?
Sure. Well, when you're sitting there doing a tube feed, you could be there for half an hour just holding the baby.
Oh, what a special time, though.
It is.
Honestly,
it is beautiful.
You are very lucky. I mean, there's so many, there's so many aspects to your job, full stop. But just to have new life there and to be responsible for feeding them and looking after them and caring for them, it's a very cool thing.
Yeah, I love it. I really love it. And I know I really want to, my heart goes out to all parents who have experienced the journey, because it is actually different experience to what I have, because I'm there helping, the baby as a midwife. But I know the parents actually go through a huge upheaval, like it's a very emotional journey for them. So whether they've travelled through a traumatic birth and it is traumatic if your baby arrives way earlier than you expected.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not expecting it. And so it wasn't planned. You didn't have anything packed, or you may know that it was coming early, but the psychological impact of having a baby early is
would be huge. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was pretty disappointed when my first son was born. I mean, there was no panic, there was no rush. I didn't get to speed along the freeway and do something responsible, because that's what I wanted.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted
that chance to drive to practice your speeding.
Absolutely, a bit of adrenaline. No, it was the first night I became a dad. It was teeming down with rain. It was like really full on. It was quite dangerous on the roads, and I had to be safe and respectful. It was terrible. But so I did that. I tease. But what I'm getting at here is the fact that the bag was packed and the preparations were done and all the other things. And although there's always a few little details you haven't got to, but when your baby comes, in some cases, we're talking months earlier than you anticipate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not there in the bedroom putting the cot together. No, you are like, this is all go. Absolutely. You're just not ready for it.
Yeah, and quite often it might be that the mum's gone in for an antenatal appointment and turned out that, she's got preeclampsia, really serious preeclampsia. And they do an ultrasound and the baby's actually suffering as a result because it's not getting the blood flow. So they decide to, you've got to go in, book you in now. You need to have a cesarean today. And it's like, what? And you might be 12 weeks premature. So you're not expecting it. It's like not the last thing on your mind.
Well, interesting you bring up that point, because, my daughter, when she was on her way, the pressure and the situation of the stress, because my wife at the time had gone through those exact problems, the preeclampsia, and it was incredibly stressful because it happened very suddenly. And we thought, oh my God, she's having a heart attack, and it was really freaky. We ended up in one hospital, then another one, and then another. Like, well, she got moved around, hand passed around. At that time they put her into hospital for, I can't remember how long. But look, she's in for a while.
It can be quite a long journey, and when you're not expecting it, you don't have your bag packed, you don't have anything ready. You haven't formed your support network yet, because you were still expecting to be pregnant for another 2 to 3 months. So there's a whole lot that goes into that. So there's a lot of maternal kind of medical reasons why a baby might come early.
For sure.
And then also the baby. So mum might be perfectly healthy, but the baby decides to arrive suddenly, or your waters might break, and you can't stop the baby. It's just coming out.
Well, this is the bit that I learned only in the last few weeks, speaking to you about the waters breaking. I thought, hey, the waters break, it's game on. No matter what, it's, grab the catcher's mitt, we're about to go.
But yeah, when it happens really early, you try to keep the baby in as long as possible. So if the baby hasn't arrived, when you get to the hospital, if you still haven't actually started labour, but the waters are broken, then they'll do everything they can to try and keep the pregnancy going, as long as there's no infection. But yeah, if the waters break, quite often the baby will come.
So I'm not being crass. I'm actually, this is a genuine question. Like, what are the reasons why the water breaks early?
Oh, well, depends if you believe in this or not. I really believe in astrological influences and the pull of the moon and all that stuff. And I know around full moons there's a lot of waters break early. Okay. Because, when you look at the ocean tides, they're all timed in with the moon. And, some people go, nah, it's no connection at all. But I can tell you after 40 years working in that area, the moon is tied in with our psychological state as well as, maternity patients as well. We have a lot more come in with waters breaking and bleeds.
Isn't that funny? Well, not funny, but it's interesting though. And let's face it. We've talked about this many times before about we are energy, and whether you like it or not, we're linked to the earth. If the Earth's and the moon and all the whole and the Earth is very much part of the moon is very much part of the Earth, being the old orbit there. It makes kind of sense that we kind of link up a bit, sort of sync up a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And there's other reasons too, but it's not set in stone. We never know exactly why, because somebody might break their waters because they've been, climbing stairs or being overactive. But then I wouldn't say don't be active because your waters might break, because that's not the case. Same as somebody
Jacob's ladder, is that what you're saying? Don't go to 10 laps.
Then I know somebody who did do Jacob's ladder when they were heavily pregnant, because they were trying to get labour going, and it didn't help. I mean, wore her out, but waters didn't break, or she didn't go into labour as a result. But all these things that you try to do to bring labour on, if you're kind of going post dates, don't necessarily work if the baby's not ready, which is why there's a sole reason behind all this too, because babies do choose to come at a set time, I believe.
Absolutely. And I believe this is what we're going to be talking about
exactly
here, to a big extent.
Exactly. So the first thing, I guess, is to, what is the definition of a preterm birth? Because I'm
going to go, in my mind, it's probably anything from about 36.
37 weeks it is actually. Anything before 37 weeks is classed as preterm.
Is that right?
Well, yeah. Okay. But still around 37 weeks they're pretty done. They're just growing in the womb, really.
Just getting the hair and eyebrows in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And babies that are born around 32 weeks usually do really, really well, because their lungs are mature enough usually by then, and so you don't usually have the breathing difficulties as much with a 32-weeker that you do with a younger one. But then that's not always the case either, because it depends on individual circumstances.
Sure. I'm hearing actually a lot of, certainly I've heard of a lot of babies being born about 32 weeks. Is this becoming more prevalent, or are we just hearing more about it?
You're probably just hearing more because we've got increased population now, so you hear about it more. So but there's a lot of babies that do come around the 31, 32 weeks. Okay. But that's way better than coming at 26 weeks, because their lung capacity, their lungs have matured a lot more, because they're surfactant on the lungs. It's that helps their lungs actually stretch.
What's it called?
Surfactant.
Right.
It's a natural moisturizing. What is it? Helps the lungs to expand and contract, so that.
So CRC, good stuff. Okay.
A bit like that, I guess. But their breathing is a lot better usually by that stage. So they're just really in an incubator to keep their temperature stable,
all regulated and that sort of thing.
Yeah, while they fatten up and grow, because they've just got growing to do.
Fair enough. Okay, so on a spiritual point of view, when they're coming early, it's kind of like, is it fair to say it's their decision?
Absolutely. Yeah. I really believe, after having multiple conversations with babies about, what happened and why they came early. There's multiple reasons, of course, because as we've discussed on other shows, the whole journey of the soul is that we all make soul contracts with our parents and choose to come in at a set time and set circumstances. And we have different arrangements too with, what challenges that we might be here to experience.
Like I've said before, I mean, I don't like lawyers, but I say I really should have seen one when it came to my soul contract. Whoever wrote that, no. It is interesting though, because I mean, you think of a baby comes into the world so innocent. So, I mean, it's pure innocence, but to think, that, they've I don't know, written their roadmap to a degree.
They have, because so much has happened actually in the prenatal period. So, I'm a big advocate of the prenatal period as well, because, what we're putting into the womb while the baby's growing makes all the difference. It actually lays the blueprint for life. So
prenatal, before you're even pregnant?
No, during once you're pregnant and through till when you have the baby. So that's the pregnancy, when you're pregnant.
Right, when you're pregnant. Okay. Why do they call it prenatal?
Because so natal is birth, so pre is pre-birth.
Sure.
Yeah, and postnatal is after the birth.
Yes.
And antenatal, you're having, that's the antenatal period before when you're having antenatal appointments.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
that's the bit that always confuses me. It just seems, I'm against the child already. No.
Yeah, because it's not ANTI, it's ANTE.
Okay.
Like an anteroom, it's the foyer or something is like an anteroom. It's before.
Anterooms?
Before the main room.
Never heard
that
term.
Places.
Well, there you go. I'm not invited into those places. Okay, I always thought that was called a look. I thought that was an entry, a foyer, or a vestibule.
Yeah,
no,
ante is so kind of but ante is before when it's spelt like that. Yeah,
learn something new every day.
Exactly. Cool. There you go. But souls actually are beginning their life mission before they even incarnate. This is why I've said we have conversations with the soul even preconception.
Sure.
Because they're actually around. You can tune into them and find out, the babies that are due that you've made soul contracts with to bring into this world.
Yep.
And they've, they're also knowing they're coming in. They're already, I find these days, they're already starting on their life's purpose before they're conceived, because they're actually helping make, create things the way they need for the parents to come together in the right circumstances so that they can be, conceived and brought in.
So big game of chess, right? They're already moving the pawns, right?
Yeah, they are. There's so much more happening, like spiritually, energetically, than what you might think.
It's such a, I know, Pandora's box to open, that one really is.
It is. Yeah. And a lot of people might not believe in that, and that's fine. This is just my experience. So I share what I've experienced over 40 years, in my own journey as a midwife and as a mother, and
we're all going to see it. Yeah, we're going to see it differently. And your opinions are, I listened and I'm quite intrigued, because your particular journey is very interesting and your knowledge is so deep. That why not take it all in, and the spiritual side as well? Because I think end of the day, we're far more complicated creatures than just the physical. Let's face it.
Exactly.
Why not look at life at every aspect?
Yeah, and with the spiritual aspect too, because it's like the unseen element. So the majority of people they're not aware of it. And they don't see it, don't feel it. But, if you open yourself up to it and actually allow the messages to come through, then you'll actually be nicely surprised probably. And if you start connecting with your baby, as I talk to parents in the NICU quite a bit. Even just last night, I had a conversation with a couple that have, preterm twins. And it was just really beautiful to have time talking about, everything leading up to it. And, it was also the shock of, babies arriving early. They weren't planning on them.
So how early was that baby?
They were 31 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were beautiful twins, but, just growing.
Yeah, running out of space.
Yeah. And so they have their own set of challenges, and they're twins, but they also are separate individuals. So, they're not exactly the same.
Of course not.
So they have different requirements, different weights. They might not be maintaining temperature the same, but it's the same journey. And then
you don't put them in the same crib together?
No. No, they need their own space, their own incubator.
I'm surprised. I thought, they've been hanging together for 8 months.
I know.
Why not keep it going?
Well, back in the day, we used to have twin cots to put babies in.
Yes.
So this is not preterm babies, although, in the nursery, we did used to have to put the twins in a twin cot.
Yeah, okay.
That's different to incubators. If a baby needs to be in an incubator, it's normally because they need to maintain their body temperature.
Sure.
So they need their own space there, so you can monitor them individually.
Yep.
But we used to have twin cots, so you could put the two babies into the cot together, and twins I always found would start moving towards each other.
Of course they would.
Even if you put them right at opposite ends of the cot, they would work their way together and they'd be snuggled up together. It was so cute.
It's very cute.
But because of SIDS and all of that, now they don't allow that, which is a shame.
That is a shame.
I know. So they separate them, which is really hard. But it was really nice to see, two of them having skin to skin, and
of course it would
beautiful.
If anyone's got any questions, I do notice we're getting the little sign that comes up on the screen saying that there are people making comments on other locations, which is it's great. I love that people are making comments. We but unfortunately we can't see them now. So if you come through, I believe if you are watching through our Edge Radio Australia a YouTube page, your comments should come up. If you've got any comments, questions, questions, don't be shy.
Yeah.
they're very
And
cool.
also anybody listening, if you've experienced preterm birth and you've had an experience, with either NICU or just, your preterm baby as they've grown and when you've taken them home, I'd love to hear from you. So you can either, drop a message in the chat or contact me by direct message or email me on faye@soulbirth.com.au.
Yep.
Because I'd love to connect with you. And I'd love to have some people in here that have journeyed.
How good would that be? Hey, you got a couch over there. We can
exactly
get you comfy, even make you a cup of coffee.
if you're lucky.
Or tea.
Didn't offer me one.
I know I didn't.
Jeez.
But you drink water. You're one of these healthy types. I'm still running on the morning.
But I'd love to hear stories. I've got several friends who've had experiences with babies in the NICU, and hopefully we'll get some of them in.
Yeah, definitely a great idea to do so.
Their experience, because everybody has a different journey through this and how they respond to it, and the trauma, if they had trauma or not, and
hopefully lack of, right? Yeah.
But either way, when you've got your baby in a NICU, it is actually, traumatic to a level, but hopefully you've been able to, talk through it and resolve it. But it's an experience that stays with you forever. It's not something that you ever get over.
You don't get over it.
It's a grief process. It really is. And, it's a grief that you never get over fully, even though you work through it and do some healing.
Right.
But it does stay with you forever.
So you can put a Band-Aid on it, but the scar still remains, right?
Yeah. Well, people that I've spoken to say, it's definitely one of those to remember, an experience that you'll never forget.
Cool. All right. Well, what sort of, how would I word this? What about babies who are premature, right? Okay. And we're talking about soul contracts on that point of view. Why would a baby choose to come early? Why would they change the contract?
Yes.
Why would they,
Who said they're changing the contract?
I was about to say, do they cross a bit out, a little initial here,
maybe
initial
this
there?
is the contract.
Maybe.
So
okay.
This is the thing. So there's so many reasons why they might come. So one of them may be that they, wanted to be born on a certain date.
Right.
Because of astrological reasons and numerological reasons. So, if you believe in the horoscopes and things, there's a lot to be said about, the energies that are around you at the time of birth.
Okay.
So anybody who's into astrology knows that, it depends on where the planets are aligned and, what's rising.
So they're going, I'm keen on this date.
Exactly.
Yeah, one day that number will look good on my number plate. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know this too because my last child, she wanted to be born at a multiple of 9. She was a bit cryptic. She told me, but I knew that the time she was born was going to be important to her. She chose it. She told me the night before that she was going to be arriving the next day. So, and I knew, so that was going to be on, a multiple of 9, and so I thought it'd be at like 9 o'clock in the morning, but no, she held on and and she was my longest birth of all of them, and she played around and kept me guessing.
Very inconsiderate, I don't know.
But she was born at 7:11 p.m., which is a 9, and then when I added up all the numbers from the time, the date, and everything, it was a 9.
Wow.
But who would have guessed that, it was very cryptic at the start.
Yeah, okay. So what gave you the impression or the feeling that this number 9 had come to the fore?
Oh, just because she told me, because I was communicating with her.
Okay.
She was giving me messages all through my pregnancy about everything she wanted. She wanted house space cleared, windows cleaned, the carpets cleaned. She wanted a dream catcher made. It had to have all these particular things.
She sounds like a read inspection.
She's very organised. It's interesting because as a human now, she's an adult, but she's super organised, and she knows exactly what she wants. So it's like, oh my gosh, how they are in the womb is definitely how they are outside.
That's interesting,
isn't it?
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be curious to know about people in my past, what kind of backgrounds they had from that point of view, because if it relays in their everyday life.
Yeah, well, quite often, even things like how the baby is in the womb, whether they always sucking their fingers like this when they come out, they're actually like that as a baby as well. They're always got their hands around their face. Any parent will tell you that, they used to do that in the womb all the time whenever they had an ultrasound, they'd be there like that. Or, clasping their cord all the time. So I noticed that in the nursery, they're if they've got a nasogastric tube in, they're always like tugging on the cord and they're always pulling it out.
Is that right?
Yeah. And so they're the ones that were clinging onto their cord in utero.
I knew someone once, many, many years ago, who used to suck her thumb, right? And still as like an adult.
Yeah, and she probably did in the womb.
Yeah. And to the point where and I'm not even making this up, not that I make things up, but I think this is unbelievable. Had she not shown me, her right thumb was slightly smaller than her left.
Oh, really? Is it the left one she sucked?
No, it was the other one. Or maybe I got them around.
Normally when you suck it gets a bit bigger.
Then maybe I got it around the wrong way. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was like, what? And it was quite distinct, and you go, really?
Yeah.
But like as a coping mechanism, or
it's a comfort measure.
Comfort measure, yeah,
exactly.
When this person had a particularly rough upbringing, and that was their sort of go-to when they felt anxiety.
Yeah, right.
So there you go. I wonder if that came from before. Yeah, I wonder how long that anxiety was running.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you never know, because some of these things, and this is another part of why they might come, or in different situations that they're coming into, a lot of them have karmic patterns that they're here to clear.
Okay.
And so they may be carrying anxiety, so from previous lifetime, or from conception, or during the time in the womb, if there's been stuff going on in the environment and they're quite anxious, they might have comforting measures while they're in the womb. But they do choose to come in to clear karmic patterns as well, and to have sort out things with their parents, or they may be bringing in gifts or challenges for the parents as well. And so as a soul, when we come in, we're here to experience physical life with all the different aspects of it. So over many lifetimes, whatever, we experience joy and grief and trauma, and you get the highs and the lows, and we want to experience it all. And so on a physical level, we would never choose that, because who wants to experience trauma?
Who wants tough?
We want to be comfortable. You come in and have a happy, joyful life the entire time.
That's what was on the brochure. Come on.
That's what we were told. We were told
Exactly.
But we're here to actually experience different growth as well, because that's the whole point of coming in, because we want to grow and expand as a soul.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And the way to do that is through challenge.
Yeah. Well, you don't learn by success. Like when things are easy, when things come to you, you don't learn from them. It's
the greatest growth comes from the greatest challenges.
100%, yeah. Or if you have great challenges, then when you do succeed, the success actually means far more. You've got to come from adversity, in my opinion anyway. You come from adversity to really make those successes really pop.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just saying, and having said that, it doesn't make it easier to travel through the grief when you're experiencing it.
No.
Which is what we find, with parents that have a preterm baby, especially if they're actually not doing so well, because some babies don't make it. In NICU especially, some babies do pass on. And so they're here for a very brief time. And it's so traumatic for the parents and all their extended family, anybody that knows them. It is a really traumatic time to go through. And so you wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Not at all.
And so, who would ask for that kind of trauma? And, I've had that conversation with many people who've lost a baby at term or soon after birth. And, nobody would choose that in their physical realm. So it's, it's not. No, our physical self didn't choose this, but on a soul level, there's a contract of some kind there that actually this is the gift that they're giving. A gift. It is a gift, if you can ever see it that way. It doesn't feel like it, but it's a gift of grief, and so that we can journey that experience of grief.
I paused for a minute on that one, because I know someone who actually lost a baby a few days before birth, and then had to give birth.
Yeah,
the whole
really
process.
hard. Very traumatic.
Unbelievably so, and it changed them like forever.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But like trying to see that the glass is half full here.
Yeah.
It did actually make them. It made them grow as a human being hugely. Like they suddenly changed the way that they went about things. And started living more in the moment. Started really appreciating the people around them a lot more. So a horrible thing, and I wish they never ever went through it. But at the same time, that baby brought a lesson to them, right?
Yeah. I know. And so I just want to take a moment just to honour all parents that have had this experience, because it really is like the most traumatic experience ever. Like I can't even imagine what could be worse than carrying a baby to term and then losing them, or at any stage, because even when you lose a baby at any stage during pregnancy is difficult, but the longer you have them, the harder it is to let go. And so
or like when you have your children stolen by the family court, which is well, it's the same
at any stage of life, isn't it? It's really hard to lose anybody at any stage, and it's that grief that you have to go through, and the journey it takes you on. It's a very different journey to what you had planned in your life. So it's like a birth plan. You have a plan, and you might want to have this beautiful water birth and dim lights, all this beautiful, and then you end up having a preterm baby, and it's all like go, last minute, cesarean, and babies in NICU. Everything goes completely different to how you planned it. So, of course, you're going to be traumatized.
Oh, forever. Yeah, no doubt about it. Could I ask you something about the sensitivity and the strength of a premature baby, like from a baby's point of view, I guess?
Yeah, well, babies are remarkably
we're thinking, because we're thinking from our point of view.
Yeah.
Let's look at the baby's point of view.
So when I've worked with these babies, they're beautiful souls. They all are, and they're here for a reason, obviously. And but just when you can spend time and tuning into them, even just holding their hand or cuddling them or whatever you're doing, tuning into them, they're all just these beautiful souls that are exactly where they're meant to be.
Right.
And they're actually very resilient, even physically. Like we think that they're these really fragile little beings, and they are.
Well, they look so fragile. That's the thing.
But you can still pick them up and turn them over and cuddle them. It's just that it's harder when they're tiny, tiny little things and they've got tubes hanging out of them.
Exactly.
It's really hard. But, they do choose this, and their soul is very strong and resilient, and they often have their gifts that they're bringing you, which is this gift of, it might be compassion.
It could be.
It might be love. They might be there just for unconditional love, which I know is a lot of conditions. The babies come in, they're bringing unconditional love to the family. So, that's all they're here for. Their sole mission is unconditional love.
Sure.
And I've heard that about, babies with Down syndrome.
Right.
That their sole purpose, they're actually really advanced souls, and they're coming in with a sole purpose of spreading unconditional love, because they just radiate love.
That's such a great point. I mean, honestly, the people who've gone through that sort of with that life, they are always so happy.
Yeah,
and they do bring so much joy and so much happiness to those around them. So every single life is a gift. Every single life brings value to either themselves or others. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'll share an experience also about like loss, because like I had lost a pregnancy at 16 weeks, and that was fine because I was in tune with my baby the whole time.
Okay.
And so he really wanted to come in. He wanted to come in as my third baby, because it was all this soul contract stuff about previous times together and what he wanted to come in. It was all incredible, this communication. And then at 16 weeks I unexpectedly had a miscarriage, just woke up in a pool of blood, and I was just like distraught, as you would be, because you think you're over the hump at 16 weeks. And so
you do,
you think by 12 weeks, it's always a bit touch and go up until 12 weeks. And then at 16 weeks having this miscarriage. So I asked him why, I was then, distraught and going, why did you let go? Because I thought you really wanted to come in. And he told me that the body hadn't worked out right, so he let it go. And
based on that, I wouldn't have come through. I wouldn't have ordered this. Come on.
Well, you clearly did.
Yeah, exactly.
So that gave me the biggest lesson. So in that moment, his gift to me was teaching me that babies choose their body. So if it's not turning out right, the way that they need for this lifetime, for the experience they need to have, then they let it go. So this is why we have miscarriages. So at any stage of the part, the journey, if it's not working out right, they'll let go of it. And so in that moment I thought, right, I didn't know what the purpose was. I didn't even think to ask him, was it because you were, was it a female body and you need to be male this lifetime, or is it because it was going to have a problem, a physical problem or whatever? But once he let go, and he said he'd come back in again straight away, and a month later I was pregnant again.
Oh, wow.
And so then I carried him to term and had beautiful, healthy, home water birth, and it was just beautiful, and he chose that. And then I knew all through pregnancy I was really at peace, because I knew that no matter what happened, however he was born was perfect. That was exactly what he chose. I even prepared myself in case he had chosen a disabled body.
Right.
What if he let go of a perfectly healthy body because he needed to come in a disabled body this lifetime?
Wow, honestly, the way you can think about these things is it's next level. No, it really is. Most people wouldn't think that way at all.
Well, I used to think maybe that's why I've done lots of work in NICU, because I've been, working with disabled or, babies with problems.
Yeah,
and so maybe I've been, this has been preparing me to have one of my own babies like that.
Right.
So I was prepared in case he, decided to choose a body that wasn't 100% okay.
Yep.
But no, he came out beautiful and healthy. So I was just like, wow. But it really helped me to just let go of all eventualities and just think, well, whatever happens, he chose this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something I'd really love to impart to people carrying a pregnancy, is that, through all this, and when we lose pregnancies, it's because the baby is choosing to let go of that body and start again. And I often refer to it as like, owner builder. If you're building your own home and you're an owner builder and you're always checking in on the progress.
Yep.
And if the builders have kind of made the wall wonky, you're not going to put up with that. You're going to tell them to knock it down and start again.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what the baby does when the soul's coming in.
What a great way of looking at it. Interesting. I'll tell you what, you can really spin these things. Okay, on that front, as far as, look, I've known people who've had multiple miscarriages before they've fallen pregnant. Is that perhaps something, maybe is that linked in with that? Is it?
Can be, but then that can also be like a physical issue with mum as well. If they've got a medical problem, like I know lots of people with endo, have that issue because it's hard to retain a pregnancy.
Sure.
So it's a matter of getting the uterus, the internal environment healthy and well and able to sustain a pregnancy.
Right.
So that's another thing again, but you can work spiritually with that in a way as well. But again, that's a soul contract. And so if they're meant to have a baby, then they're meant to resolve this so that they can have a baby.
Okay.
So it will eventually happen.
Yep.
One way or another, but it's the journey that you have to go through in order to do that. And what happens in that journey is that the woman goes through enormous amounts of grief and trauma. She has to rely a lot on her partner. So, the conversations, the communication that happens, it'll either draw them closer or take them apart. And so that's all part of the soul journey and the contracts, So maybe that was the gift in the endo.
I love the fact you can call it a gift. I'll tell you right now.
Well, you have to. I mean, everything happens for us, not to us.
Yep.
So whatever's happening with you, whether it's a physical ailment or, baby coming in or a loss, anything, they're all on a soul level, not a physical level, on a soul level. It's all meant to be because it's part of the soul journey, and it's what is the gift in this? If you can start asking yourself the question of everything that happens, what is the gift in this, rather than going, poor me, this is terrible, which, understandable. But if you start switching the narrative around and looking at it, everything as a gift that is there for your benefit to grow and evolve as a soul.
Completely agree with what you just said there, because that is so true. When you flip the script, and here's going to be one of my little narratives. I can't stand at the moment how many people live as a professional victim. Okay. Whingy. You're not Eeyore, the donkey here, right? Stop whinging about things. Look, horrible things happen to us all. And you've got to have your time of Eeyoring, you've got to have your time of complaint, but ultimately you've also got to stand up and say, no, okay, this is it. I've got to learn from this. This happened for me, not to me. And then you've got to turn that negative energy into something positive. Otherwise, you'll live in that professional victim.
Totally. And I think
forever.
The system is actually enabling people to be in victim mode because there's so much there, and if drama sells. So people, it's all, whatever. If you watch TV a lot, I mean, I haven't watched TV for years, years and years. I can't remember when. But, if you watch a lot of drama series on TV, drama sells. So people people are wired for drama, and if you're in victim mode, you get more. I don't know.
You get more victim points. I mean, honestly, it's almost like a game where you're scoring. Look, I just not far from here, there's a row of shops. And when I say shops, almost every one of them caters some part of the health industry, right? And they're all pretty much not-for-profits, which not-for-profits, we won't go into my political beliefs about them. Most of them are money laundering organisations, but they really are. But, okay, what I'm getting at is you've got all of these industries which are all on the government teat in one way or another. They might be private entities, but they're getting government money. And they're all just about basically supporting sickness or unhealthy beliefs and all that kind of carry on. There's a complete industry about it. Whereas, if so many people's lives and livelihoods, they completely, depend on this kind of carry on. Whereas if people actually empower themselves, step up and not keep going for the crutch, stop going for the professional
and I think
victim.
that's the key, is to actually take back your own control, your own power around what's happening, and know that things are happening for a reason. And actually, instead of falling into the and I don't really want to call it victimhood, because in this case, when you've got a preterm baby, when you've got traumatic events in life, it is traumatic, and you do need the network of support and to be held through it. So that's not victimhood, but knowing that there is more that you can do, and you can flip the script on it. You can actually turn it into a gift instead of seeing it as a terrible situation that it is, but actually going, okay, well, what's my baby bringing to me? What is this gift in this moment? And is this here to draw us closer, as a family? as a couple, even
That's
though at
right.
the time it might be pulling you apart because baby's in NICU and you're at home now already and you're not having that family time. But what's happening around this baby? Like, this baby is the center of the world and everything around it is shuffling into place. It's bringing in more support structures for that couple, that they might not have actually been able to reach out to before. It might be giving you the chance to actually speak up and speak out and ask for help. And for
Great
other people
point.
to recognize that, she's always been so strong, we've never, helped her because she's so strong on her own, but hey, she's breaking apart right now because her baby's in NICU, so maybe we need to help her.
It's a great point. Look, our conversations often go off on tangents. So our little tangent there, I don't want anyone to ever think that I don't consider.
No, not at
like,
all.
oh my God, if you've got a child or a baby going through this, the whole family's going through it. It's an incredible thing, and quite frankly, need lots and lots of support. What I'm saying is that, because my God, I know people who've gone through it. I feel for them. I've been through experiences myself, which are very, very close to it. What I want people to do is not to live in that pain. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's about empowering people. To actually
go to it and go, okay, you know what? We've got a premature child, a baby, and this is a really tough time for them, for us, all of that. But how lucky are you? How many people can't have babies? You've got to look at the positives here. You've got to go, oh my God, I've got this incredible gift. And the time that we've got together is precious.
Yeah, and maybe asking the question too, like, if my baby's come early or whatever's happened, why has this happened and what is this baby asking of us? And so, spending that time connecting with your baby, especially if you're in NICU and you've got this baby on your chest doing kangaroo care and got all that lovely bonding time, you just sit there and actually tune into your baby and actually go, wow, so tell me about yourself. Why have you come in at this early stage? What is your gift to us? And, what is this all about? And just be open to answers, and start, whatever you're picking up on, whatever you're hearing, don't just discard it and think, no, this is a load of rubbish. It's my imagination. Because no, it's not. You're actually getting messages from your baby. They're trying to communicate with you.
I was actually going to ask you on that one. I mean, like, okay, how do you energetically support your baby in this situation?
Yeah, well, by that.
By that, you kind of answered my question as it was coming out of me.
Yeah, by communicating. And also, like, if you're not there, if you're not in the nursery because you've had to go home, but you can still telepathically connect with your baby.
Okay.
Have a photo of them, which they'll usually give you anyway, NICU, but take a photo and have it at home with you and actually tune, because it's easy to tune into a baby when you can see their photo. So look at them and tune into them and send them messages, like think of them, because telepathic thoughts, they will pick up on, even if you're not as open to receiving at the moment, they are, because they're very connected still, spiritually. So they're, connected to the angelic realm, they're connected energetically to all that is. So they pick up on you. They've been with you for this whole time in your womb. They know your energy and they're communicating all the time.
Sorry, cut you short there. Does this sort of like, I think you've talked about soul messages before. Is this kind of linked into that sort of thing?
Yeah, because souls, it's their soul, their higher self will be trying to communicate with you. It's about being open to receiving whatever it is. So, you can...
open to receiving is a big, big, big thing.
It is.
Right? It really is. I've certainly known my own life that often I didn't realize at the time, but I've been shut off. I put that wall up. I won't allow that love to come into my life because whatever else you're going through. So I mean, are there I don't know, techniques, are there structures, are there things that you can do that that will help you open up like that?
Yeah, I think the big thing is to get out of your head and more into your heart, because like if we overthink things, where our brain blocks things and it analyzes why this can't be so it blocks off, any opportunity to receive. Whereas if you just drop straight into your heart space and even put your hands on your heart and actually go from your heart and tune in from your heart and go, what are you feeling and sensing, and all the other part, because our heart has more capacity than you think it does. It's supposed to be our second brain. I think it's our first brain.
Yeah, it depends on who you are. Yes,
true.
Some of us use one far more than the other.
Yeah. But, if you actually drop into that space, you're more open to receiving and actually being able to communicate with your baby.
Okay. When you do fall into your heart, though, and maybe I'm sure this is not just me, but I'm going to try and articulate this way the best I possibly can. Sometimes when I'm like, in my situation where I'm kept from my children, and in my love for my children, and I want to communicate on a soul level with my kids.
Well, you can.
But I was going to say, so when I drop it into my heart, though, I physically, I have chest pains. I literally have pain.
It's sort of the ache, heartache.
Yeah, it tightens the chest, the aching, the pain.
Yeah, because of the unhealed or unresolved trauma around that, the disconnect. Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is, okay, if you're in a situation, your baby is there in the ward and you can't access them and you can't have them the way you want, and you try to drop into your heart, you're trying to feel that. Is there anything you can do?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's breath work too. You know, there's a lot around the breath. You know, so if you're feeling that tension there, that heartache, you know, it's a blockage. So you just relieve the tension by taking big, deep breaths. So, you know, hold your heart and just, you know, be sitting upright and just taking big breaths in and out and let it go. Just really deep, long breaths out, you know, and then hold the out breath for a bit, you know, just go and do some breath work. And, you know,
everybody swears by it.
Well, it's amazing what the breath does, because you find when you're feeling that tension, you're probably holding onto your breath. Whereas if you let it out, let it go and keep, because it's life force energy that's flowing through you. So if you hold your breath, you're not going to get it through. And as we know in birth as well, if you're holding your breath, or if you're not breathing correctly, then you're going to be tense, which gives you more pain. So you're going to, you know, feel it as pain when you're giving birth. Whereas if you breathe and you allow the flow of energy to move through you, this life force, birthing energy, you're going to open and surrender to birth, and birth flows so much easier and you don't experience so much pain.
I can't argue with that. I mean, you're bang on. I mean, as you know, look, I relate it to, you know, when you've had a few drinks and you fall down the stairs, it doesn't hurt so much, right?
That.
Well, no, but and they see the Premier of Victoria, a whole different thing. No, but as far as you know, like, okay, I'm joking, but the effect of when you release and you loosen up, right, you're far more receptive to bringing things in, but you're also very receptive to letting things out. Like you release things. You know, what I'm saying is when you feel loose and comfortable, you don't feel pain to the same degree.
No, that's right.
Yeah. So, and you don't need to be drunk, or there don't need to be any stairs involved.
Absolutely not. You just need to breathe.
Breathe. So take the time, take the deep breaths.
Yeah, exactly. And get out of your head and into your heart and actually really feel things and let the energy move through you, and just keep releasing anything where you feel there's tension in your body. Just release it, and then you'll be more open to receiving what is coming in, because you're making more space for it.
It's such brilliant advice. I wish I took it more often. No, but it's true.
Well, there's no time like
yeah. Well, it's very hard to sort of, in the middle of a podcast, to say, excuse me for a moment, just need a few moments to breathe. Hang on, away we go. In conclusion, because I mean, we've talked about so many different issues here with premature babies here. How would you roll it all into one? How would you sum it sort of up?
Oh, I would just say to remember, like, these preterm babies, they're here for a reason. They've got, you know, a mission on earth, and they may already be doing it, you know, but they've always got a reason. Everything is happening for you, not to you. So just maybe flip the narrative on it and actually start seeing everything as a gift. And, you know, what is this baby gifting to you? So whatever it is, and just reflect, if you've had a preterm baby, what has that changed in your life? And, you know, has it been positive, negative, or whatever? But how can you flip that around and make it a beautiful gift that you've experienced?
Wow. Someone in my life who has a preterm baby and has grown on to, you know, be strong and go really well. And I hope they watch this show today, because I hope they actually get something from it, because I know that there's things that are holding them back. And sometimes it's nice just to, I don't know, and this is something, you know, I definitely want to do with everything we do at Edge. You know, I want people to open their minds and open their hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, just to look at things from a different perspective, don't be sort of caught up behind it all the time.
I know. And I really, really wish and hope for everybody, the viewers, to, just to see life as a gift. And, hopefully this has helped in some way to give hope to people with preterm babies.
100%. Hey, we are out of here. Thanks for being part of Soulbirth.
Thank you.
Here on Edge Radio Australia.